What I talked about was specialty crops. In the northern crops region of Minnesota, Dakotas, and Montana, there are over 14 specialty crops that are raised there. Unlike other parts of the country that are deal only in a couple of crops, that northern region's got a wide variety of crops. And I split those into three categories: grains, pulses, and oil seeds. And the reason for that is they all have three different attributes. The grains themselves were split into ancient grains, conventional grains, and what are called pseudo grains. Ancient grains are like spelt and farro and kamut. Those are grains that have been unaltered for hundreds of years. Then the moving on to let's say the pseudo grains, that's more like amaranth, quinoa, buckwheat, grains that they look like grains, but they and they're used like grains, but they're not really a grain species. And then finally, you have the conventional grains. But a lot of the conventional grains have kind of morphed into specialty grains as well. For example, like corn, instead of number 2 yellow dent corn that everybody's familiar with, food grade corn is like in white corn, blue corn, purple corn, multicolored corn, and a wide variety of food type corns. So, and then I spoke about pulses. That's where the big trend is going at this point. Pulse production in North America is up dramatically. I think peas were up like 19%, and lentils were up maybe 48% in acreage and corresponding production. And the reason for that is demand. The demand has increased because of a number of factors. And those factors are primarily health and wellness factors. And pulse crops, as well as grains and some oil seeds like flaxseed, sunflower, safflower, and oddly enough, chia, that comes from South America. They are high in protein, they're high in fiber. Many cases you can derive it from organic. You can grow the crops organically, which is a big demand driver. In the case of pulses and some of the oil seeds, they are gluten-free, which is another hot topic these days. And most are, in fact, all of them are essentially non-GMO, and which is another driver in the industry. So some of the other factors that are coming into health and wellness are locally grown foods. You might say clean and simple labels. So those are some of the topics I covered. Diversity. Growers are always evaluating economically what is the primary crop to grow. And if some of the more traditional crops are on the edge, you might say, some of these specialty crops can fill in, especially on a rotational basis, and maybe provide a better cash flow for the upcoming year. May not every year, but it gives them some options. A lot of the buyers here are, and rightfully so, dedicated to soybean purchasing. And a lot of the buyers here are into food grade soybean purchasing, which is great. However, when they take a look at some of the trends that are taking place worldwide with regard to health and wellness, gluten-free, non-GMO, etc., they may be interested in adding additional products to their portfolio in addition to food-grade soybeans. What that would do for the farmer all the way through the distribution chain is probably lock them in as a more stable customer versus some other areas of the world where they're engaged in more of a monoculture. So We look at specialty grains as being that one extra incentive for buying U.S. soybeans. I think the primary takeaway from buying U.S. crops is food safety, and it's also reliability, and it's no, you might say, what you see is what you get, and there are no surprises after the purchase. So that the reliability, food safety, high quality, and consistent high quality are the primary factors for buying U.S. commodities.